The future depends on what you do today, said Mahatma Gandhi. A child is our future. Shaping young minds is the challenge. And making a difference through school education is a constant and creative process. City Montessori School, the world's largest school by pupils, a Guinness World Record holder, has essentially a large pre-primary and primary learners enrolled every year, thus keeping the school environment refreshingly young, agile, and progressive in its teaching pedagogy. The Resource Department under CMS Quality Assurance and Innovations Department is a hub of activity involving lot of teacher interaction with schools from around the globe. This report here will summarize the 3-day-long program of the 8th International Conference of Pre-Primary and Primary Principals on the theme The 21st Century Learner, organized by Quality Assurance and Innovations Department and convened by Head of Quality Assurance and Innovations Department, Ms. Sushmita Basu. The motivational strength of this conference are the founders of City Montessori School, Drs. Jagdish and Bharati Gandhi. The way forward of this conference, Professor Geeta Gandhi Kingdon, Chair, Education, Economics and International Development, Institute of Education, London University, UK. Team CMS welcomes you all, the educators, school principals, managers, teachers, mentors, and members from the civil societies who can make a difference in education sector to CMS World Unity Convention Centre at CMS Kanpur Road Campus, Lucknow. The conference began with the school prayer presented by the school choir of CMS Anandnagar campus. The 21st Century Learner Conference of the 8th ICPPP is out to focus on the 4 areas of development of a child, namely curriculum for creative and critical thinking, leadership and collaborative learning, education for global citizenship, blended learning. An introduction to ICPPP 2017 by Ms. Sushmita Basu, Head Quality Assurance and Innovations Department.
Toffler, the noted American writer and futurist, had remarked, "The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn." With the same emotions and feelings in my heart, and in a common effort to relearn what we all already are aware of, I extend a warm welcome to you all for the inaugural session of the 8th International Conference of Pre-Primary and Primary Principals 2017. I would specially like to welcome our chief guest, Mr. Prabhat Bhanu Munipriya, Minister of Education, Information Technology and Cultural Affairs, Sabaragamuwa Provincial Council, Sri Lanka. Dear friends, the purpose of this 8th International Conference of Pre-Primary and Primary Principals is to update ourselves so that we can go back to our schools, to our educational institutions, better equipped. These days, we have children who have challenging demands. We have children who want to have their say in education. They often have higher levels of digital literacy than their elders, and they are real multitaskers. As Bruce Wellman has said, at this point, we appear to have a 19th century curriculum, 20th century buildings and organizations, and 21st century students facing an undefined future. Hence, keeping all aspects of 21st century learning and learners in mind, we felt that there could be no better or no more apt theme than the 21st century learner. We have 4 sub-themes. One, curriculum for creative and critical thinking. Leadership, the second being leadership and collaborative learning. Third, blended learning. And the fourth, of course, which is very dear and close to the Sinti Montessori group of schools, education for global citizenship. We will have keynote sessions followed by panel discussions from various parts of India and abroad. We'll have panelists to discuss on the basic themes after the delivery of the keynote. And tomorrow in the afternoon, we'll have workshops of 2.5 to 3 hours each downstairs, where all these themes would be covered in the form of workshops. Dwelling a little bit more on the fourth theme, that is education for global citizenship, I would repeat that this is a theme that is very close to the CMS vision and philosophy.
Founder Manager of City Montessori School, Dr. Jagdish Gandhi, introduced the chief guest.
We are very honored to welcome Honorable Mr. Amba Kahara Ve, Prabhat Bhanu Manupriya. He is the great Minister for Education of the biggest province of Sri Lanka, that is Sabarmumba province of Sri Lanka. And he is also a politician. Currently he is Minister not only for Education, he is also holding the portfolio of Information Technology, Cultural Affairs of Sabarmumba, Sabaragamuba Provincial Council of Ministers. In the past also he has been the Minister for Health, Indigenous Medicine and Women Affairs of the same ministry. He has his education from the University of Colombo and studied law. And he is the attorney at law. He is a very prominent attorney, but left all that and to join the army of the ministry to improve the quality of education. We are very honored to have amongst us a very eminent Vice Chancellor of Noida International University, Most Honorable Dr. Vikram Singh. He is a IPS officer of 1974 batch and currently the Vice Chancellor of Noida University. After a long service career, recently served as the Director General of the Police of UP. He retired in May 2010. He completed MSc from Allahabad University in 1972 and PhD in Ecology from Kumaun University in 1990. One of the most highly decorated police officers in the country, having been awarded the highest gallantry award by the President of India 4 times and twice again for distinguished service to the nation. And he is so great that he has accepted our invitation to be the chief, special guest. He has been the chief guest so many times, but he is the more than the chief guest. And Bhanupriyaji will be happy when he will listen to the Vice Chancellor, then he will realize what a great personality. He has accepted to come to a small school of Montessori children. It's a very small school, tiny school, in which he has come. It is our great honor. We are honored to welcome both these eminent personalities. And I congratulate Vasu Didi, Mrs. Sushmita Vasu, who is not only the head of the Quality Assurance and Innovations Department, a committed personality, a committed educationist. She has been to Finland to give a talk, and a Finland delegate has come from a very prestigious University of Finland, and she has been to many countries in the world. I think By now 30, 40 countries he has visited, and all is spreading the quality of message. So the message of quality of education around the world. So she is a very eminent global personality, and she has developed the City Montessori School from very ordinary stage to a very high level. So I congratulate her, and all the principals who are sitting here, I welcome each one of them, because they are all great personalities of international repute. All the principals of CMS are organizing international events. No one organizes any national event. They all organize international event. They are 20 in number, 19 or 20, but they are organizing 30 international events. So you can imagine they do not ever organize anything national. They always organize international, and if perchance they have to organize a national event, then it is always such a big event. Now the Council for the Indian School Certificate Examination and the Association of the Schools of ISC requested Dr. Kamran to organize this event here on a national level. Even that, she wrote a letter to the President of Mauritius, and she invited herself, the President of Mauritius, and she came to inaugurate. So even that function, which was national, and about 2,000 principals of various schools and colleges, the best schools of all English medium schools of ICSE and ISC, they were here for a 4-day conference. And so she got it inaugurated by an international personality. That the theme she chose was the globalism. That is, now the time has come for global perspective. So the education for the 20th century, 21st century must be different from that of the 20th century. It must broaden the child's perspective to globalism in place of narrow nationalism. That was the theme of the conference which was chosen by Dr. Vinita Kamran, the principal of this school. So I can imagine that their thoughts are very, very high, lofty thoughts, which are based on our philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The whole earth is but one family. So this is the mission, this is the mantra of CMS. So I congratulate Dr. Kamran, congratulate all the principals who are sitting here.
It is said, do not curse darkness. Instead, light a lamp. Here is the lamp lighting ceremony.
Over the world, for peace and harmony, may the Lord keep this light always burning forever and ever.
Chief guest, Mr. Ambagarave Prabhat Bhanu Munipriya, Provincial Education Minister, Sabaragamua Provincial Council, Sri Lanka, in his address said,
The special guest, Vikram Singh, Dr. Vikram Singh, Vice Chancellor, Nadia University, Nadia. Dr. Jagdish Gandhi, founder manager and president of the City Montessori School. Dr. Vinita Kamran, principal of the City Montessori School, Lucknow. Mrs. Sasmita Basu, head Quality Assurance and Innovations Department, CMS, Lucknow, and secretaries to the Education Ministries, directors of Education Departments, principals, teachers, delegates from all over the world, including Lucknow, and my dear colleagues. First of all, I wish to extend my gratitude and sincere thanks for inviting me and my group to this international conference of principals, pre-primary and primary schools. It's a great pleasure addressing you as the Minister of Education, Information Technology and Cultural Affairs of Sabaragaon Province of Sri Lanka. Our prospect is to share the good practice with you all. This will be a great opportunity to strengthen the 12th year relationship with CMS Institute while sharing experience mutually. Our delegate team represents the Secretary to the Ministry of Education of Sabaragamu Province, Provincial Director of Education, Zonal Directors, Divisional Directors, and some selected principals. This opportunity is very important for us to share experience in qualitative educational practice in India and Sri Lanka by facilitating each other, so that it will help both countries to achieve the educational goals in 2030. I appreciate your invitation for this occasion, since this program will provide a great opportunity to our principals to exchange and share their experience and best practice to uplift the quality of primary education. By using this exceptional experience, our team, including the principals participating from the Sabaragaon province, will be able to establish new practice relating to child-friendly environment in primary education.
The progressive teacher keeps pace with the learning demands of the time. A talk by the special guest, Dr. Vikram Singh, Pro-Chancellor, Noida International University, on the evolution of a teacher into guru.
And you are magnanimous that you've given me a space in this wonderful auditorium. In my life, I say that people have said, if you want to see God, do you want to see God? You see God in the eyes of pre-primary and primary school children. You can see God in their eyes. And you are all angels because you have rubbed shoulders with angels and divinity, and that divinity has rubbed off on you, and therefore I am so doubly blessed. I can see that being at your feet, it is meditation. I don't have to sit in meditation. Being in your company is meditation. So much of richness and spiritual energy in the people. Madam Sushmita ji, I was really at a loss at the choice of calling an ex-police officer in a Montessori and a preschool teachers gathering. What is common between policing? I have rubbed shoulders with India's and the world's most wanted, and therefore that has rubbed off on my personality too. That many people who saw me 40 years ago and see me today, ki, sir, now you look straight from India's most wanted gallery. I wasn't like that earlier, but today, you are rubbing shoulders with divinity, and therefore the fragrance and the signature of the Almighty is writ large in this auditorium, is writ large on you and your personalities. And therefore, I am truly blessed to be a part of this auditorium, this great gathering, meeting of the greatest minds. Teaching preschool and primary is not what it used to be even 20 years ago. It is not what is said, twinkle, twinkle, little stars, Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall, come on, recite the table of 2. It doesn't work any longer. A child of 16 can handle the smartphone better than I would. And a child entering pre-primary perhaps will take a photograph, and when I ask child, what are you doing? The uncle, I have put it on the cloud. Which cloud? Not that cloud. I have put it on the memory cloud of the Gmail systems. This is the level of IQ and application of a child who is just about to enter school. Obviously, what worked yesterday will not work today. Yesterday, schools were embodiments of discipline. Today, schools are known for compassion. Yesterday, teachers were instructors. Today, teachers are facilitators. Yesterday, teachers commanded and controlled. Today, teachers empower and coach. Yesterday, love and compassion were extra. Today, love and compassion are everything. The fondest memories I have known, again, Madam Sushmita ji, I have had the good opportunity, I would say, the dubious opportunity of seeing people breathing their last. And I asked him, what is your fondest memory? Without exception, those on the deathbed say, my fondest memories are of Miss Blewett, Miss Heber, Miss Hutchins, Mrs. Stewart, and all KG and primary teachers. Nothing in between KG primary and the masters. Nothing in between. Our fondest memories are those which brick by brick are laid by our primary teachers, by you ladies and gentlemen. You are the creator of the fondest dreams the person will carry in his or her lifetime. I have handled students, primary, pre-primary, infants, secondary schools, college, PhD, and postdoctoral. And mark my words, the challenge in handling a class of pre-primary school and primary is the most challenging, more challenging than masters or even a PhD scholar. I have nothing to gain or lose, but for a class of 40 minutes, ma'am, I have to prepare for 2 hours to take a session of 40 minutes for a primary school. I don't have to do that for a PhD or an MSc class, because the logic given by pre-primary school and primary school children can be very, very disconcerting and very demanding. And therefore, I have to prepare myself to address each and every issue, because what sentence or word that I may utter, maybe, not maybe, but with certainty will leave an indelible mark on the mindset and the personality of the child. It will be permanently etched in the memory files of the child. Therefore, the best practices the world over, I'm so happy and delighted that you have 4 sub-themes. I would also say that you should have a system. All of us are teachers and some of us are gurus. For those of us who are not familiar with Indian scheme of things, a teacher graduates into a guru. We say that when you amalgamate the father, mother, and the teacher, then you have the emergence of a guru. A teacher structures and a guru reconstructs. A teacher solves and a guru resolves. I salute all the teachers and all the gurus. All of us are gurus in the making, and it is the process of evolution that all of us are in the phase of taking off and becoming what they are. Please, the next slide, please. The presentation. I forgot that I had a presentation too, because what Dr. Jagdish Gandhi ji had said, perhaps that set off a chord in my memory files too, and I thought that perhaps I will answer, who is small? You are big, sir. I do not deserve to be at your feet also, sir. Next slide, please. The best, there's always a best way of teaching and the best way of pedagogy. I think I'm the oldest in this auditorium. And my schooling had 3 ingredients: caning, cold bath, and bad food. It is unthinkable today, and it should never be there. Although I have my own share of fond memories, but the purpose of caning, cold bath, and bad food was to bring out the steel in you. That philosophy, but it doesn't work any longer. I do not even would venture to check a child in a higher pitch. I have to modulate, I have to rethink, I have to analyze. Am I too loud? Am I a little harsh? The best practices, our friends from Finland would tell us, it doesn't pay to be harsh. It doesn't pay to be loud. It doesn't pay to be loud or even boisterous. It is better to listen more. If the child across the table who's sitting across has not spoken for more than 1 minute, then there's something wrong in my system of pedagogy. I should listen more, speak less. Let the child speak out. And Madam Kamran has come out with the Quality Circle Student Quality Center. There is thesis and there is antithesis, and from that emerges synthesis. Because again, Madam Kamran, I was told when I was a student, students should be seen and not heard. But those days are different, and today is different. Today, all the students have to be seen and heard and heard and heard and heard alone. The job of the teacher is to facilitate. Now coming down to our religious scriptures, the Buddha said, Apo Deepo Bhav, be thine own light inside. Swami Vivekananda ji said, education is the manifestation of the perfection already in man. All perfection is already there in the child. The job and the task of the teacher or the preceptor is to facilitate the child's journey towards light and knowledge. And that journey to take him by the hand. Again, the only divinity that I have experienced is when a tender hand holds me as a teacher. The best touch is almost as if a fairy or a divine individual is holding my fingers. I've had the opportunity of having the best chocolates, the best sweets in the world. But the best chocolate without exception is the one when a child, 3 years of age, reserved her candy, which she had swallowed and then kept it in her hands for me, for my favorite teacher, for 6 hours in rain. That candy with the child's fragrance, with the raindrops, her sweat, is the best candy I have ever tasted in my life. God be my witness. You see, words cannot explain the deep connect with the children that I have at your level. That connect can never happen now. Even if I want to, it will never happen now. There are a few things which I would draw your attention to. The best practices, going back to nature. We may discuss anything and everything, but just remember the name of the chief guest today. Prabhat, Bhanu, Munipriya. Prabhat means dawn. All our scriptures are full of what dawn is. We focus on the dusk, but what dawn is, Prabhat. Surya Devo Bhava, Bhanu is Surya. Aditya Devo Bhava, Agni Mitra Devo Bhava. We praise dawn, we praise the sun, so that let the sun rise in your life, let dawn emerge in your life, because one person who has not seen the sunrise, the dawn, and the Surya, that is Bhanu, obviously has missed out in life. Who is Munipriya? One who is wedded and is committed to the sattva, to the positive, Matra Devo Bhava, Pitra Devo Bhava, Guru Devo Bhava, one who respects his parents, one who respects his teachers, one who respects the Almighty, one who respects his fellow being, one who is a universal individual is Munipriya.
Teachers from Anandalaya School, Anand, Gujarat, presented a dance on cooperation called Manthan.
साकार तम के मारा ये घर बार आवे खुशियों की पुहार 12 महीना है त्योहार घर वाली बनी रानी मारे काम की ये कहानी सुनो सुनो रे दूध का सागर बहता जाए कंगन सोने के खनकाए सुनो तार पे शहनाई हरे घर झांझर लक्ष्मी के बाजे हरे घर झांझर लक्ष्मी के बाजे
Here are the excerpts from the panel discussion, Curriculum for Creative and Critical Thinking. The keynote address by Ms. Marja-Leena Billund, teacher, lecturers trainer from Finland, who set the ball rolling for the panel discussion with her presentation on the Finnish curriculum.
Montessori school when I arrived here a few days ago. It has been a pleasure to visit in the classes and to see how advanced your education is here. And I'm very happy to see also that you share the same values as our new curriculum in Finland. The human comes first. And that's the most important in education, that human comes always first. And I hope now that my laptop has wakened and I can find my presentation from the cloud. So wait for a few minutes. My headline is Mind the Gap, Creative and Critical Thinking. And I wanted to head it like Mind the Gap because that's the dangerous at the moment in the school world. With the gap between the learners and the teachers is getting wider and wider if we are not going to change the education methods in the school system. Now I'm telling about the Finnish customs that we are using in our classrooms. And I want to emphasize that we haven't forgotten all the subject-based lessons. We do also have those. But today I'm concentrating on the new waves of education that in the focus there will be learner-created content and how the phenomenon-based learning is happening in Finland. As you call it blended learning, but we call it phenomenon-based learning. And this first photo is from my own classroom, where the pupils are working in small groups. And as you can see, they are using their laptops and their smartphones and tablets in the working process. They are allowed to bring their own devices to the classrooms, and we also hope that they bring their own devices because the community cannot afford to buy everyone their own laptop or own device. So when they bring their own devices, they also take good care of those things because they have bought them themselves at their homes. And first about myself, I like to call myself innovator. And I think every teacher should be innovators because that way we are ready to change our habits in the classrooms. We must look at new ways to help the children find their ways in their lives, their path, like you call in TL, the path in their lives. And if we are not ready to change our minds and be open-minded in our classroom, nothing will change. And we are just passing the old habits to our children, and we are making the gap more wider and wider. And that must change now. And then I'm a teacher. I'm teaching. I love to teach. The teaching is my passion. Like my colleague said to me that it's so strange that your hobby is teaching and the teaching is your hobby. That's true. Most of my time I like to read about researches about teaching and the teaching methods around the world because that's how I'm getting new ideas, how I'm going to change the teaching and learning in my group.
Panelists, Ms. Varsha Naik, on the topic Use of a Creative Curriculum in the Primary Section, the experience at the Indian School, Abu Dhabi, UAE.
Developing a global citizen, making our children global citizen. And what are the 21st century skills a learner must have? So can we have the... well, till the slide works on, I would like to thank CMS Lucknow for giving Abu Dhabi Indian School, Al-Wadba, a chance and opportunity to present our views on the curriculum and integrating curriculum through creativity and critical thinking. I thank once again to all the members of CMS for giving us this opportunity. It's a pleasure to be here and present our views. And what are the skills a 21st century learner must possess? Before that, just a short introduction about our school, the mission, the vision of our school. I represent Abu Dhabi Indian School, Al-Wadba, Abu Dhabi, the capital of UAE. This is the infrastructure of our school. And next comes the vision and mission. Yes, this is the vision. We learn and share. We discover and we inspire. We recognize that each child or the student has its own individual talent, and with the very supportive environment by the teachers and the staff, we try to develop all the skills of the children to make or to face the challenges a student or a learner has to in the 21st century. The mission is to impart in the students the seeds of curiosity, critical thinking, creativity, and communication skills to make them adaptable global citizens of the 21st century, to prepare students to achieve their highest potential, to mold and motivate our learners to develop scientific mind and spirit of inquiry, to inculcate in students respect and appreciation towards diverse cultures, especially that of the UAE heritage and Islamic traditions, since we belong or we are a part of UAE.
Ms. Shaimala Subramaniam, stellar approach to teaching, experiential learning in Singapore primary schools.
Are you ready, dear teachers? Dear teachers, may I start now? May I start now? Thanks so much. Thanks so much. Okay, please be seated. See, what have you just done, my dear teachers and, of course, guests of honors? What you have done is you have done critical thinking about the knowledge that you have just gained. You have communicated your knowledge. You have already done some 21st century skills. So with that, I'd like to start now. A very good morning to distinguished guests and also ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm indeed very honored to talk about my country's education system of the country that adopted me in the country that I was born. So I'm a born Indian, but I've grown up all my life in Singapore. So I'd like to thank the organizers for the opportunity that you have given me today to come and share in my motherland. Now, before the 1990s, you can see that the emphasis on the education system was mainly the 3 R's: the reading, the writing, the arithmetic. And it was very, very much content-based. Now, with the birth of the internet and the explosion of knowledge, the focus of education then moved from the 3 R's to include the 4 C's: the collaboration, communication, critical thinking, and creative thinking. Now, with the change in the landscape, there was a need to relook at the pedagogies in the classroom.
We could no longer use the same time-tested, teacher-centered drill approach. We saw the need for the change, and therefore we implemented the Stellar program in the Singapore schools. We are very famous for acronyms. We have ST strategies for English learning and reading. Now, the program was a research-based teaching strategies with age-appropriate materials to engage the children in the learning of English. Now, the Stellar programs aims to strengthen children's language and reading skills, as well as promote a positive attitude towards learning. Now, to realize this vision, the teachers were empowered to teach the children the critical skills, life skills of listening, speaking, reading, and writing through strategies that haunts the 21st century skills. So now let's look at all the different approaches that we use in the classroom. Now, a little bit content heavy here, but I just would like you to move from your left to the right. Okay, now the shared book approach. Now, this is mainly for year 1 to middle of year 3. Now, the shared book approach is where the teacher engages pupils in reading for both enjoyment and understanding, and she also teaches language items, structures, and concept of print explicitly and in context. All right? Then, if you move on to your right, you have the modified language experience approach. In short, they call it MLEA. Now, this is a shared experience provided by the teacher, as we know that not all our children come with the same context and experience and practice.
Ms. Sushma Rajkumar, Cambridge International Experience at City Montessori School, Lucknow.
It opened ourselves to another new avenue, which we had not thought about it. It gave us a new soft skill, the virtue of patience and empathy. Children learn to be good listeners also. Now, we decided to put students into groups or crews. So structured grouping was the seating arrangement in the classrooms. Now, what you see here is a group where we have students of class 6, 7 and 8, different classes sitting together discussing something. Feedback. It was very, very, very important for students to get feedback on their learning. Now, feedback was always provided by the teachers in a traditional classrooms. Here, we empowered our students to give feedback. Now, feedback was always given on the basis of a rubrics which was already provided to the students. Another strategy we stuck onto was consciously raising questions that are open-ended, so that the flow would be maintained. Children would learn to think. Now, a few examples of open-ended questions. What do you mean by that? How did you come to that conclusion? What was said in that text? From where did you get that information? Is there any evidence? Now, this reframing of the questions. Sometimes what happens is children come to a block. So reframing what they wanted to think or what they should be thinking, reframing the questions in their mind gave them opportunities to think better. A part of my job also involves guiding teachers with their lesson plans. So this is one strategy which has worked for me, reframing. What else is there in it? How else could it be useful? What else can I learn from this? Now, another strategy, reasoning and concluding. I put an example here. This is a maths class. Students are learning geometry here. Polygons are being taught. Now, the way it went about was the students were asked to draw any polygon with more than 3 sides. They divided the polygons into triangles.